Mr. Johnston, how do you really feel about just walking down the street here, a few blocks on Douglas Street, when you see homeless Americans who also fought in Vietnam, and now we are trying to clean the entire earth by the U.S. Army, and we can't even fix our next door neighbor? How do you feel?
It makes me feel ashamed. A huge percentage, I think near 50% of the homeless are veterans. And they are not being provided for after having served their country at great risk to their own lives and the future of their families. Our servicemen and women now serving the country are inadequately housed, inadequately paid. When they come home from service, many of them face difficulties becoming qualified to receive medical care from the Veterans Administration. It's despicable. And I have great admiration for any man or woman who makes the decision to serve their country. When they make that decision, they submit to the will of their commanders, and that's the way it has to be in an army. But they're there fighting for the freedoms that we enjoy in this country, the freedom of speech and freedom of religion, and it's up to us who are still at home to fight and make sure those freedoms stay intact so that their service is not in vain. And if that includes criticizing the Supreme Commander-in-Chief, President Bush and Vice President Cheney, for their wild escapades, then that's our duty. We owe it to our servicemen and women to take up our burden to participate in the political process and to bring about political change.
Mr. Johnston, why we just have Republicans and Democrats? I'm talking about the red and blue. Why can't we have a third party? Why all these years with two parties and they oppose each other 100% somehow? Is there a chance for a third party in America?
Third parties in the United States have never had long-lasting success. There have been some temporary successes in some third-party movements. I think that the biggest reason why that's so hard to do, Dr. Sam, is because of the control over Congress that money, millionaires, and lobbyists have. It is so difficult to defeat an incumbent congressman or senator, just like here in Sedgwick County. Congressman Tiahrt has $1 million in the bank, despite the fact he's been free about giving some of his money to Tom DeLay. We have 5 candidates in the Democratic Party who have filed for the privilege of running against him in the primary, but I doubt between them they have $50,000. If you cannot elect people to a national office, it is difficult for your movement to gain momentum on a national scale. Now, there have been Green Party candidates, there have been third-party candidates elected in local offices around the country and in several places.
Is it more for tilting the scale? Or is it really a party? Was it?
Well, I think the most recent example, of course, was Ralph Nader's candidacy in 2000.
Correct.
And he did tip the scale in favor of electing George Bush. There are a certain number of people, and Ralph Nader is a smart man, who simply have decided, for whatever reasons, that neither of the two parties is serving their interests or the interests of the country. I don't agree with that.
He has a lot of supporters.
He does. I don't believe he has as many as he used to have.
Sure.
But I don't agree with him. It did tilt the scale in 2000.
What happened to Mr. Ross out of Texas? Just disappeared.
He did, as far as I know.
Yeah.
But he tipped the scales for President Clinton.
That is correct.
In his first campaign. So I guess it works both ways.
Is it true that you have to be millionaire or rich to be a U.S. president? And let me give you examples. Bush the son, Bush the father, Clinton, Reagan, and Carter. These are 5 that I know of.
I don't believe either. I don't believe President Clinton was a millionaire when he took office, and he got sued so many times. He may still be paying his legal bills. But if you are not a millionaire, you have to be capable of raising millions and millions of dollars. And certainly it's easier to participate fully in a presidential campaign if you can pay your own way.
Any chance for Governor Sebelius to be a VP?
Oh, I have great respect for Governor Sebelius. I think that she has charisma. She knows how to lead, especially in an environment that ordinarily would be adverse to her party. I just am not confident that Democratic candidates for president are going to think that a governor from Kansas is going to give them enough electoral votes to make that a solid choice.
How about Ms. Clinton, Hillary Clinton for president and Ms. Sebelius for VP? Wow.
Wow, that would be a wow.
See? Can you imagine Hillary and Sebelius looking for Bin Laden? TJ, good evening again.
Hey again, guys.
Hey, what's going on?
Hey, I did want to ask you a question. You hadn't touched on it, and it was the big news story of the day about all the phone records that were turned over by the telephone companies.
Right.
And like right now, if I say the word assassinate,
you're going to be bugged.
Well, I don't know. Am I going to be in trouble? I mean, will Echelon or the NSA program or will my calls to your program be recorded somewhere in a database that somebody's mining to look for supposedly terrorism, but I don't know what they're looking for, and I don't know if anybody knows what they're looking for.
I think there are keywords, I'm sure, there are like a bomb or gun or, there are some keywords most likely.
Oh, now you're in trouble.
Hey, I'm always in trouble, man.
Well, I just wondered, as an attorney at law, if Kelly could tell us what his perception of how lawful this is and what laws are they using.
Unfortunately, sir, as Dr. Sam pointed out when we started, my area of specialty is workers' compensation and disability law. From what I understand of what was published today, what the National Security Agency has done is purchase these phone records from the 4 major telephone carriers. I think there are privacy rights at issue, but I can't tell you specifically enough whether those rights have been violated or not, because I haven't had a chance to research it. But what disturbs me as much as the privacy issues is this is just another example of the secrecy that surrounds everything the Bush administration does. Up until this point, we had been talking about warrantless wiretapping. What's involved here isn't wiretapping at all, just buying records of telephone calls. But they certainly weren't willing to come out and make this admission to Congress that this has been going on. The Bush administration is the most secretive presidential administration that I can recall. And every time another revelation comes out, it reinforces all over again that they cannot be trusted. Why have people serving as your national leaders if they can't be trusted?